Hey everyone, welcome to the Grind Together podcast. We're the Grinders. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Matt. And on this podcast, we want to create opportunities for growth through real conversation.
Let's go. You obviously listen to this podcast because we talk about relationships and you are invested in your own relationship because you listen to this podcast. But let's take it one step further and come join us for our free virtual live event.
Literally, guys, it's a Zoom call. We are doing a Zoom call. We are talking about reviving your relationship because we know that we all get stuck in a lull, and we have put together 3 key steps for you guys to implement in your relationship so you can start having the best relationship right now.
So jump below. The link is below to save your seat. Go ahead, register, save your spot, and come and join us. We cannot wait to see you and answer all your questions and help you finally get the relationship that you're wanting.
This is our first episode of 2025.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about the new year.
Yeah, it was a good fucking year in 2024.
Oh.
It was good.
It was.
But now we're in 2025.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. 2024 had like its ups and downs.
What do you mean?
I feel like the last year for us was, or for me personally, was really like, I had high highs and I had low lows, and it like was constantly like a fun roller coaster that I'm really glad I went on because I learned a lot. But like there were certain times where I was like, I want to get off this roller coaster right now.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful because I think in years past, I'll just share this. I mean, I shared this with you. I was looking at pictures of us from like, I think it was like 2023 or
Okay.
2022. I can't remember. And it was like our New Year's Eve, like those previous years. And I was like, whoa, like I wish I could go back to that girl and just be like, hey, this is when your life's about to completely change. And I think at the time I kind of meant it in a negative way, like, oh, hold on to your horses because life's about to completely do a full, whatever that's called, 360, 180.
Yeah, good job.
180.
Both words work.
Okay. And you kind of looked at me like that was kind of rude. And I was like, no, I didn't mean it in a rude way. It really was just like, if I go back, it's so interesting to see that at that time I was kind of in the dark about a lot of things. And like, I kind of just lived this like very surface level, everything's sunshine and rainbows, even when it's not, and everything's fine and we'll brush everything under the rug, until I couldn't live like that anymore. And then I kind of said to you, I was like, I feel like the last couple of years have been like years of enlightenment and like years of coming to light and things like that. So it's interesting because I'm grateful for all the ups and downs now, where before it was like, no, everything's such a high all the time and it's totally fine. And we don't talk about our problems and we don't talk about what we're going through. Where now I'm like, no, I'm really grateful for all of it. Like the good, the bad, the messy, the struggles, all the things. Because there's always something to be learned. And I think when I finally learned that, it makes everything just better. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think that's great. Yeah, it taught me a lot of things, but I think the main thing that it taught me was just like actually who I am.
Oh, I like that.
And what I want out of my life. And I think everybody is going to get to a point in their lives when that happens for them. A lot of people a lot later, and some people it happens for sooner.
Wait,
right?
I don't want to let you off the hook. I
up?
want you to answer those questions
Which question?
that you just said.
Who am I and what do I want with my life?
Yeah. What came to you for 2024?
No, it's just I had been living my life for other people for so long up until 2024. And in 2024, it was when I finally decided to start living for myself. And in doing that, I found out the fact that like I am here for a reason, and my purpose is to help other people through the things that I've been through. And I literally don't have the option but to share, right? And then what I want out of my life is directly correlated with my purpose, and the fact that I do want to help other people go through the same things, that are going through the same things that I went through, that we went through. And that provides so much peace and fulfillment. But at the same time, it's really, really hard because starting your own thing and doing your own thing is difficult. So
I love that.
yeah. Okay. In our little segment of our conversation cards, I already pulled the card for you that kind of actually pertains to this.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you intentionally do that, or was it
Nope.
just at random?
That's how the universe works.
We love the universe.
So in this segment of Start the Conversation, with our conversation cards, which we are going to drop new ones.
We have new ones coming, but we still have old ones, and
They're amazing. They're the best
still
things
amazing.
Ever. This is the mental and spiritual sections, and the question is, right now, how would you describe your relationship with time?
Ooh,
Yeah.
This is fun. Time for me has been so interesting lately because it feels like time has sped up quite a bit for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of times, like I don't have enough hours in the day, but when I take a second, like I really do have all the time that I'm needing to get everything done. It's just my priority. And like my word, I always choose a word for the upcoming year.
Yeah.
And my word that I can't get out of my head, like last year, my word was purpose or presence. I can't remember. It was purpose. Wow. And going into this new year, my new word is discipline, just because I feel like that's something that a lot of times I looked at as a negative thing.
Yeah.
But I'm now realizing that it's actually like the highest form of self-love that I could give myself is to have like more of a structure and be really more like a lot more dedicated in what I'm wanting, because
So
like,
how does that pertain to time? What do you mean?
well, because when I talk about discipline and like time, I'm realizing like I control all of it and I have as much time in the day as I actually need. I just am choosing to put it in other places. And then I also believe that like time isn't linear. So that's always a fun conversation. And I just recently had an energy reading that was really eye-opening to me, where in the energy reading, it talked a lot about asking my higher self to come and like I could talk to her. And I'm not going to cry. And that's really interesting for me because I feel like a lot of times, and I know a lot of people struggle with this, is like, especially when it comes to like dreams and goals and things that I'm wanting, like I have a really hard time asking other people because I don't want, I've spent so many years of my life asking other people for their opinions and having like my dreams or like what I'm wanting kind of get skewed into whatever they're wanting, even if it's in their best interest. And I don't really want that anymore because I like truly trust myself enough to understand like what those goals are and what the things that like we're wanting to do and the actions that need to take place for those. And so bringing and asking your higher self to come in and talking, like my energy reading was literally like, you can talk to her. You can say like, this is what I'm wanting to do. Like, how do you feel about this? Or like, is this a good idea? Or, like all these things, like, is this going to help us get to like the future goal here? And I truly believe that like time is not linear. And I've had so many cool experiences with that like, I can't not ignore the fact that like, I know that like, I'm the only one that can help me, whether that's me coming to help my younger self and heal there, or my future self coming to help me now. It's just kind of a cool concept. So,
wow. That was amazing. I love that answer. I don't think that time's actually real. It's interesting after becoming like an entrepreneur and trying to do your own thing, where time just goes out the window. Like even holidays didn't feel like holidays. Yeah. You're just constantly like striving to achieve your goal. And I mean, like I've been super disciplined, to your word, right? Every single morning I wake up at the same time and go do the same thing. And I used to get so tired because in my head there was this concept of time, and that I would have to go and spend it somewhere else, like at a 9 to 5. And then I would not have enough time with my kids. And that concept is just gone for me now. So interesting question. And I actually love it because everybody has the same amount of time, air quotes. It's how we use it, but then it's also like the energy that you put towards the thing that you're doing with that time that you have too. So
I really like that. The other thing that's been kind of brought to my attention is like, I have such a, like, I can do it myself mentality. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm the only one that can do it the way that I like can do it. And
exactly where you're going.
Yeah, like, and it's been really cool to bring people into our lives that have helped me kind of delegate and let go of that control a little bit. Yeah. Which is really scary, but also I'm really grateful for it.
It is insane the amount of things that you can get done when there's somebody that knows what they're doing it.
Well, and it's worth like, if you can match the energy of, okay, like this is the energy of the task and like the frequency of the money that's being spent in order to have somebody else do it, because it's their time and energy as well. Mm-hmm. And everything kind of aligns. It's really cool to watch all the pieces fall into place and like just how much more grateful like you become and how much more you can get done. Like I just freed up this time during my day because of that, because I delegated that one task, or like really realized that like, I actually don't need to control this. Like it's okay. And like, I think my head a lot of times with time, especially, it's like, oh wait, hold on. if I do this and I fail, then I just wasted time. And I'm trying to shift my mindset of like, nothing is failing. It really is just like learning. And I learned something in the process that's going to help me just succeed even more on my next step forward. So like even in our relationship is very much like, you could say all the times that we fight, or all the times that, you know, like one of us does something that pisses the other one off. That's a failure, or air quotes, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, no, there's always something to be learned.
Right.
So
yeah, the mental and spiritual side of coaching, of like self-development and all that stuff is my favorite one. So if you want to have conversations like this, purchase our conversation cards. That link will be below. But did you know 8 out of 10 couples that that did split up, did end up splitting up, wish that they would have gotten help before?
Yes.
And that help means either talking to someone that's not friends or family, like a therapist or whatever it is, or maybe joining groups or going on retreats or working more on their relationship before they decided to just peace.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting. We did a quiz on our Instagram. If you don't follow us on Instagram, you should. It's at Grind Together Co. But we did a fun quiz on New Year's to kind of help people realize like what their relationship was, like what you were wanting in your relationship for this new year. And I was actually so proud of everybody that answered, because I feel like everyone answered very honestly. There were only a couple questions. There was one question that I was like, I'm going to call BS on this one, but or challenge it. But the rest of them were very honest in the sense that they were kind of just like, hey, we're just like floating by here and we don't really have the tools and resources, and we think that we do, but then like maybe one partner does, but the other one doesn't. And no one's on the same page.
What were the questions for that one?
I can pull them up. Let me grab them really fast.
Because I think that's the thing too. Like there's so many ups and downs in a relationship, and we just think that that's supposed to be the norm. And the reason why we even wanted to talk about this today, because getting into this topic of getting help before it's too late, right, is because we were in that same boat. And what we see is that like people will wait until they get to like the lowest of lows in their relationship to actually start looking at what's going on. And so they'll get to their pain point. And for us, like our pain point was like pornography.
Yeah.
But that taught us way more about our lives than we could have ever learned had that not come up. And other people's pain point is like infidelity or whatever it is, like drugs, or like somebody gets to an addiction, or like think about the worst thing in your relationship. And if that happened, then would you get help and start to ask questions? The answer is yes, probably, right? But why not start now? Why not start before?
Well, I think it's interesting, like even looking at our story and like what we went through, the kind of like eruption of everything was you coming forward with, you know, what you had been struggling with.
Right.
But like I didn't know about it, but like it wasn't like I was blindsided by this, like, boom, like this is going on and I thought we were super happy. Like there was a lot beforehand that was like really kind of stirring. Like I go back to being pregnant with our third baby, and like that is really when things for us started to really like start to stir, right? And we kind of started to become like,
well, there's signs.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, like
yeah, go for it.
No, you're good. There was just a lot of contention, and there was a lot of like, I don't know, like we felt like strangers, and like we didn't really want to be around each other. And when we were around each other, we just kind of pushed each other's buttons constantly. And then when we would try to talk, like no matter what happened, we fought, or someone got offended, or, you know, we didn't really feel like we could talk openly. And like there was a lot of jealousy, and there was a lot of resentment, and there was a lot of confusion, and there was a lot of like, I can't make you happy, or like, why are we even together? This doesn't make sense. We're so different. We're so opposite. And like, we're just not on the same page. And like, even like religious wise, like during that time, that was very much like a topic of conversation between the two of us of like, I believe this. And it was like, well, I don't believe that, or like, I do believe that, but my idea is different there. And like, we would butt heads on that. And so it was just like, why are you laughing?
It's just like, I just know anybody that listens to this has gone through every single one of those things that you have said.
Yeah. Cause I'm like really trying to go back to like where we were at, and like, it was freaking hard. It was so hard to be in a relationship like that. And it was one that I truly was just like, shit, I don't want to do this anymore. And like, so it's so funny. Like we're always like, yeah, porn is our thing, but like, or like was our thing that kind of catapulted us to change, or to like actually look at our relationship, which I'm so grateful for, because we waited so fucking long before you finally, thank God, like said something to me.
Right.
And we are kind of forced to look at it at that point, because I go back and I'm like, shit, like we could have been so much further progressed
Yeah.
had we started like when I was sobbing in the kitchen because I was like jealous of your friendships, and be like, oh wait, hold on, he doesn't feel like he can actually talk to me because I'm judgmental bitch and I'm like constantly at his throat with everything, right? So it's like, it's so interesting to look at that and to go back and to be like, oh wow, it all really actually makes total sense.
So let's slow it down for the people, right?
Yeah, sorry, I'm
And
all over the
let's-
place.
And let's say if there's really 8 out of 10 couples that wish that they would have gotten help or talked to somebody before they separated, what are some of the signs?
I mean, I just said all of them.
You just did. You just listed off every single one of them. If you're having a hard time conversating,
Yeah, really, like,
if you feel like you can't be honest in your relationship, keep going.
I was trying to find, I wrote them down
Yeah.
because I was like, I'm gonna forget these. Hold on.
If you feel like your relationship, the connection is gone there.
Well, if you're just kind of feeling more like roommates rather than,
And I think that
In a
happens so
relationship.
often, especially with kids or like job promotions or whatever it is, we just start to separate. Like we get so used to just living with a person that our relationship just literally goes out the window. And I think the biggest key for me was when I didn't feel connected to you. At that time, it wasn't even physically, right? Because
Yeah.
we were still having sex.
yeah,
But it was, and I mean, unbeknownst to me, it was emotional connection. I had no idea how to tell you the truth or anyone at that point in my life, but I was not emotionally connected to you. Like I had no tie to you, and I had no idea like how you felt, and you had no idea how I felt either.
I don't think I even knew how I felt.
We just straight up went to either anger or apathy, which we just didn't talk to each other, or we were just pissed at each other.
Yeah, or they were like the surface level conversations, like that I feel like you have an apathy of like, well, how was your day? And like, oh, like what happened at work?
Well, let me
And-
pause there for a second, because my brother even said when we were at dinner with him the other night, my brother even said, he's like, well, how do you, like, at what point do you, if you feel like you're good, aren't you just good? Right? Or like, at what point are you like actually healing? Like, does that ever stop? Does it ever start? Or like, cause I think he was coming from a place where he's just like, and I think a lot of people can resonate with it, where he's just like, well, our relationship is awesome. Right?
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with you, but that's why I'm like, I want you to know the signs.
Well, I think the signs are just like, they can be anything. And I think that they're very personal depending on who you are as a person. Because like, yeah,
'Cause I
there's
think
a
there's
lot of,
relationships out there that are genuinely happy.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I would say like, I would be careful with being complacent in your relationship.
Oh, that's a dope ass word. Good job.
But like, stop being complacent. Like, stop taking it for granted, because the second you take it for granted is the second that all of a sudden your focus goes to something else, and then you're gonna fuck up, and things are somewhere down the road you're gonna look back and be like, oh shit, I stopped putting them first. I stopped putting myself first. I stopped worrying about it. I stopped like actually pursuing my partner. We stopped talking. We stopped doing all these things. Like, that's why people get divorced when they're like fucking 55, 60 years old.
Because they realize that at some point that intimacy just stops.
Well, they stop working and they retire, and then they're forced to be with somebody 24/7, and they're like, shit, this is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't actually like you. I actually thought my relationship was great because I went to work 9 to 5. I came home, I saw you for 2 hours, 3 hours. We put the kids to bed, and then we sat on our phones and fucking scrolled and watched TV. No.
okay.
Your relationship, I can almost promise you, because I know how hard we work on our relationship, and I know how conscious we are in our relationship.
Right.
And it is a freaking daily thing that we have to do.
Yeah.
It's daily.
Yeah.
So bring me somebody else that's doing as much work in their relationship, and they can say like, oh, our relationship is good. We don't need to work on it anymore. Bullshit.
Well, I think it's just like you got heated about that.
I
which
did.
I love.
Whew.
I actually like that a lot.
I don't want people to become complacent in it.
Well, I think that an easier way to say it is that like there is complacency in relationship, right? And I think like the way that you do view it is, what are you doing outside of the mundane, outside of the norm? What's happening? If there's not a lot that's happening, like we can be super happy individually and be okay with our kids and go do the kids things and go buy the house and all. But when it comes to you and me, or if you're listening, you and your spouse, what are you doing outside of all of that? That's what we look at, right? That's when we know your relationship is either thriving or it's kind of crippling.
Well,
and that's where people are at, where they're like, well, we got to that point, and then once we hit up against something really hard, we just decided to call it quits. And like what we're saying is 8 out of 10 of those couples wish that they would have looked at it beforehand.
yeah, I want somebody to look at everything with a magnifying glass. I truly do.
Right, but I'm trying to give them like the roadmap of like, okay, cool. Pull back work, pull back the kids, pull back all finances, all the mundane, and see where you two are at personally.
Thank you. Yes, personally. Like, I think that's the key thing, because I look back at our story and I think the biggest thing was my focus was constantly on you and your happiness and making sure that everything was good for you and creating this world for you that you actually never asked me to do. And you didn't even have a say in it. I was like literally playing house with you. Like I was like,
yeah. And I very much would like loved our life because I didn't have to do much, but then that just caused a lot of like stuff inside of me. Sorry, go.
Well, no, like it's so true. But I'm saying like strip back even your relationship for a minute, take your partner out of it, look at yourself. Like it's one of the things we do in coaching all the time. And it's so interesting to watch people get so uncomfortable with having to remove their partner from the situation and like actually look at themselves and say, I actually don't like I'll just ask the question right now to everyone listening. If you could describe to me your perfect day without your partner or anybody else, your kids, nobody else, like I need it to just be solely focused on you, what would that day look like? And how detailed can you get? Like what do you have? What time do you wake up? What do you eat for breakfast? Where do you go? What do you do? What are you wearing? What does it feel like? Like I genuinely want people to imagine that, because for me, when I was asked that question, it felt empty. Like I was like, I don't know. And it's like when someone asks you like, what are your hobbies? And you're like, for me, it was like, oh, I'm a mom and I work. And so like I do that. And I don't really have time for myself. It's like bullshit. You're not making time for yourself, right? You're not making time for your relationship. You can do anything you want. You're just not putting forth the effort. If I said to most men, if you don't go on a date, or you don't emotionally connect with your wife for 1 hour every single day, you can't have sex. I guarantee you. And you can't masturbate. You can't do anything like that. You can't release that way. I promise you, they would do it.
Yeah.
They would put forth so much effort. They would study it. They would focus on it. They'd be like, yes, same with women. You want your husband to talk to you? You need to learn how you are feeling. So I need you to take 1 hour every single day to check in with yourself on how you're feeling, where you're at, and what you actually need. And I need you to practice saying that in the mirror to yourself of what you actually need. And then I want you to turn around and say it to your partner. And then you can go shopping. Then you can focus on your kids. Then you can do whatever.
That's cool.
You would actually do it.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong.
No, yeah, you're absolutely not wrong. That's perfect. And I think that's like where I think that's a really cool place for people to start, truthfully, because I don't disagree with that statement. Like not everybody has to go through a whole bunch of shit in their lives. And I actually agree with the fact that people can skid through life pretty happy.
For sure.
Right. And not go super deep. And that's okay. But you do run into this problem where you are 30 years down in your career and in your relationship, and then you have to face something hard and you don't know because you've never done that before.
Well, and you feel so stuck.
Yeah. And you like, there has been no emotional competency in your life to be able to figure out how you feel, how your partner feels, to overcome that hard thing. And now what happens is that's when like all these emotions are going to strike you right at once, and panic attacks will happen, anxiety will happen, all that stuff. So we got really deep really quick with this topic, but it's so true. When you think that like you were the happiest in your life, I don't want to disagree with you, but I do want you to look at yourself with everything stripped back. If I took away your job title, if I took away all of your hobbies, if I took away your family and your wife, who is that person looking in the mirror, and are you happy with them? Do you like the shape that you're in, right? Do you like what you eat? Do you like what you do? All of those things. And then we look at your relationship. But you have to strip back all of the titles. You have to strip back everything to be able to understand like the core of who you are and what your relationship is doing.
Well,
So
I think too, even going with, yeah, I'm happy in my relationship, right?
mm-hmm.
I would say, well, what if you could be happier? Or what if you could have what if you could have more connection? What if you could have better sex? What if you could have more time? Like, start to get curious, because like when you're complacent and you're like, yeah, I'm happy, like life is great.
Well, there's
It's like, start to get curious about it. Could there actually be more on the other side of that?
right. Well, yeah, like something that one of my mentors always says is he's like, everything that you see in the world, somebody thought of first and then created. So if you see somebody else that potentially has a better relationship than you, that means that you can also get that. Right. But you have to like actually see it for yourself and then start to create it. So yeah, I love that.
That's pretty straightforward there. You got to just create the relationship that you're actually wanting, which is what we are trying to help couples do. And it's what we're passionate about.
Yeah.
It's like why I get so heated about, when we talk about things like this, because we run into so many couples who like, I know it would take just the tiniest little bit of effort to really say like, just try this or do this. And like, things are going to change so much for you personally and in your relationship. Like, please just do it. Like, I want to shake people and just be like, just do it. I promise it would help. And like, I think that's why we are creating as many things as we're creating in this new year, because like, it truly is where our passion lies, is like helping those couples connect and helping people through the shit that we've been through. Like, I don't want people to have to take the long route. I want to give you like the fastest track to like being the happiest that you possibly can. And I feel like that's what we've kind of figured out and done. And so,
well,
like,
I mean, you're right, dude. If I could create a shortcut for everybody, I would.
yeah.
And like, that's what we're trying to do, because like transparently, we spent how much? 80 grand
Probably more than
on coaching, on
Classes,
classes,
yeah.
courses, just to try and dig ourselves out,
certifications,
or climb out of this hole that we dug ourselves in, right? And it was the most eye-opening thing for us. But if we could avoid that for somebody else, that's what we're wanting.
for
right?
sure. I want to give you like the easiest, like, here's the 10 steps to fix this. And like, you be like, I totally will do these. And like like overnight, I may snap my fingers. I know it's not overnight, but truly, like, your relationship it's not a like, do these things and it gets fixed. It's like, here are 10 tools that you can use on a day-to-day basis that you can choose to use every single day, at every hour, at every minute, to create and build the relationship that you actually want, or build and create the life that you're wanting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when people realize that, like, wait, I actually have control over all of this, and like, here are the tools I have to do that, it becomes so much more eye-opening, because you take accountability for everything, and you're like, hold on, I actually can handle anything that gets thrown my way because I'm in control of it.
Yeah.
And I have all these resources that I can use to say like, oh, wait, hold on, we're in a fight. Okay, great. I'm going to use the emotion scale, or I'm going to use this. I'm going to, come to my partner without judgment. I want to see his world, those kind of things. I want to see how he ticks. I want to see all the little things there. Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that that's why I get so passionate about it, because like, it really has been so life-changing for me personally, and I'm somebody that like, when something is so life-changing for me, like, I want to stand on a rooftop, or not even a rooftop, like a mountaintop, with like a megaphone and just blast it to everybody, and like, just be like, hey, like, you need this. I know you may not think that you need it, because your life is great and your marriage is great.
Let's talk about what it is, right?
Okay.
Because we one-on-one coach couples.
Yeah.
Right. And we also hired a coach to sit with 2 times in a week, one-on-one. Like, guys, we literally went to this person's house. Her name is Tanya. She's amazing.
We did a podcast episode with her.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
Sat on her couch for 2 hours every 2 days.
Every other day.
Twice a week. Yeah.
Twice a week.
And for a year. Like, literally, we took so much time and effort just to focus on ourselves. And so that's what it looks like, right? But there was also like retreats and seminars and things that we went to develop ourselves personally, to bring that to our relationship. And then we also joined groups. You joined a women's group. I joined a men's coaching group, just to better ourselves. And I always, like, when people would say like, hey, invest in yourself first. Like, if you're going to invest in anything, invest in yourself first. I didn't know what that meant. but that's truthfully what we have done the past 2 years. And so that's what it is. So if you're looking for like help to not be one of these 8 of 10 couples that waited too long, because what we run into, guys, is that like everybody's on the brink of divorce and then they start to talk to us. Right?
When they finally start to talk to each other.
Yeah, they start to talk to each other and they're like, holy shit, we can't do this. We need help. Right? So we want you to just, let's nip it in the bud right now. Right? And let's actually start talking about real things. And whether that's you one-on-one coaching with us, we would love that. Right? Over the phone, in our office, in person, that'd be great. If that's you joining the things that we're rolling out here in the next couple of weeks, we would love that even more, because we have this entry level. Truthfully, it is entry level. We're making it affordable for so many people to jump into these things and actually receive help and not having to go spend $40,000 a year on a personal coach.
Yeah. And you're going to get the same amount of things that you would get in a coaching program like that, if not even more. Like,
well, it's just like we literally wanted to show you that we did, we took the hard route so you didn't have to.
yeah.
So don't be one of those 8 to 10 couples. Don't wait too long. Act on your relationship, because what it's going to do is it's going to teach you the most about yourself. Because even if you don't want to stay in the relationship that you're in, which is fine, you're going to grow personally as an individual.
I think a lot of times too, one of the things that we like come up against a lot is like, well, I don't know if I want to do this with my partner. Like, I need to do this on my own, and then I'll bring them in when I am to this certain point. And like, I would really,
which is okay to an extent. Like,
I don't think it is.
Maybe 1 or 2 sessions, and then after, well, this is what we've done, right? It's like, hey, the let's say the husband will come in, right? Or the husband will talk to us, or the wife will talk to us. It's literally either 1 or 2 sessions, and then it's like, hey, if your spouse doesn't come, this isn't going to be as good as you want it to be.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I would just encourage people to stop being so scared of actually letting your partner in.
Yeah.
And start doing it with them, because I can guarantee you that it will fast track everything for you, and you will stop looking for all of these small Band-Aid fixes in whatever you're signing up for, or whatever you think like that you're doing on a day-to-day basis to like really help improve yourself. There's still this underlying root frustration, and I know, because I see it every single day, where they just, I'm not on the same page as my partner. We're on different pages. We have different beliefs. We have different values. Like, I don't even recognize them anymore. That would all be solved if you did it together and you actually talked. Like, truthfully, like, stop being so scared of your partner. There's a reason you married them. There's a reason you love them. There's a reason that they love you. Let them in. Let them in. Stop being so damn scared. Please talk to them. Let them in. Let them see you weak. Let them see you happy. Let them see you angry. It will fast track everything for you. Amen. Preach. Hallelujah.
Okay, guys, stay tuned. We got some cool shit we're rolling out. So.
We do. And if you've stuck around this long, we have a webinar happening on the webinar virtual event, whatever the hell you want to call it, master class,
whatever it is. Yeah.
We're jumping on a Zoom call with y'all on Wednesday, January 15th at 7:00 Mountain Standard Time, PM, Mountain Standard Time. And we are going to go over how to revive your relationship from a couple who's been there, which is us. High five. And we're going to go over how to kind of revive your relationship for this next year, regardless of this like trajectory that you're on, whether you're super happy or you're in the trenches. We're going to teach you the 3 things, like 3 easy steps that we use on a day-to-day basis to help revive that relationship and really get going on a path that like, to actually have a relationship that you love and that's helping you grow personally, but also that's helping your relationship grow and thrive. So if that's something that you're interested in, the link is below to sign up. Make sure you grab it. It's free. And we have a super exciting announcement that we're announcing at the end of that as well. And we're like giving you so much stuff on that call. So if you like us, you should definitely join, because you're going to get access to pretty much everything that we have for like pennies. And I say that like very lightly, but like, come get on the call, because it's going to be great. And if not, cool.
You're dead.
We still love you. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we hate you. You're the worst. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so come join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yep.
And yeah, here's to making 2025 the year that you finally start looking at yourself and your relationship